I'm so disturbed by the... I mean, there's lots of stories that came out of those crime stats today, and they're all pretty grim. Obviously, London disproportionately is under focus for things like violent crime. But the shoplifting thing, I mean, certainly when I remember as a kid going to Woolworths after school, and a kid in our class, looking at the records, and a kid in our class stole a CD and put it in his... And I remember seeing him do it. I hardly slept that night. It was, to me, it was the most outrageous thing I'd ever seen. I couldn't believe somebody did this. And then there was a woman who lived down the road from us who was prolific, as it turned out, who got caught. And that was, you know, discussed as a really serious crime. It's a big deal because you're stealing something that doesn't belong to you. You're depriving retail of profits. It's wrong on every single level, not just legally. How it became so normalised, I don't think it's just an issue with the police. I mean, the police are obviously up against it. I get all of that. I think there's a lot of videos out there, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, whatever it happens to be, where kids are watching other kids go into shops, filling up their pockets or their bags and walking out, and nothing happens. The security guard stands by. And I think that has created also a cult.
Has anyone, so confession time round this room, has anyone here ever stolen anything from a shop?
Yep, I did as a teenager.
So my confession is that when I was about 10, I stole a penny chew. Do you remember those things that you... And I felt so bad that the next day I went in and I left 2p in the shop.
Well, I got caught, and it was... I mean, if you want, you know...
It wasn't in Woolworths.
It was not in Woolworths. I'm not going to say what shop it was, but... and the most terrifying moment of my entire life. I mean, you just think... You think that you have actually... I think I was 11.
I mean,
it was... I mean, I can still feel that anxiety. And
did the police come?
I had the full warning, everything. Wow. My parents were told, and you will never, ever, ever do it again if you go through that experience.
Just to add some context to the story, your dad picked you up, didn't he, from the shop?
We're not going there.
What car did your dad turn up?
We're not going there, JJ, because at the moment we're friends. and our friendship is on very thin ice right now.
Fine.
Let's just say that the moment that my parents...
You learned a lesson.
And my mum saying, what did we do wrong?
What you did, of course.
Wrong. You know, it was the full middle-class horror story.
Oh, wow.
But my goodness me, you will never, ever get over that humiliation, and you will never think of doing it again. But not now.
So the question is, does that routine still happen, ever?
I very much doubt it. And now every retailer...
police officer in a shop and...
Every retailer tells us, you know, that 80% of shoplifting doesn't get any response from the police. So you can't get that situation. And as you said, we have now got into a situation where it is an epidemic, and it's growing partly because people like us are talking about it, but more because social media, people are pretty much saying,
I think
it's open season, so more and more people are doing it.
Not everybody has got fewer police officers around. I mean, some of them have got the same numbers they had before. So it's not just that. There is a theory that the police don't turn up unless it's over 200 quid. Somebody told me recently in California, it's got to be $2,000 or more before they show up. Is that true?
Goodness sake. I'm interested...
I can believe that. California is a mad, wacky old place. They've got all manner of strange laws and...
They got princes living there.
So, yeah, they have, little ginger ones as well. Not any old prince. So whether that is true, but it would suggest that is something that's happening globally as well as just here.
I'm interested in the link with the self-service checkouts and
Exactly
whether
what I was gonna say.
the absolute minimal stuff. I mean, often if you think of some place like Boots as an example, sometimes it's hard to find any human being in there that can help you with your checkout.
Especially on a railway station.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. So it's hardly surprising if young people or anyone really who's down on their luck or basically a wrong 'un feels tempted just to walk out.
But do you know what? It is that I saw a guy, literally, he was next to me on the self-service thing. I thought he had a lot of steak, a lot of sort of salmon, that kind of stuff, and he was swiping it all through, and he went through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he got a card out,
Yeah.
and he hit the card on the machine. It was obviously a dud card, but if the cameras
would have shown him
the choreography looks as if he was trying to pay, put it all in the bag and just walked out.
Wow.
And as he did it, I looked at I thought the till still said
Wow.
Ready to.
Wow.
That's obviously a well-worn technique.
I
if
had
you got
no
caught,
idea.
you
I
would
think we
say,
shouldn't
look at
advertise
the
this.
cameras.
But there are lots of other techniques. So I was reading a piece by a grocer the other day who was saying that what most people do is, you know, when you have to choose which vegetable it is, whatever, they just fill it full of the most expensive ones, but then they say it's all potatoes, it's all potatoes, and you can get a fortune. You can get away.
It's like a public service, isn't it, for crims?
Yes.
I watched a brave security guard deal with a guy who got punched in the face, and it was at that point that he let the guy move on. And I feel sorry for the security guard. He pulled up blood, and it wasn't a very nice situation. And he still works there, this security guard, but it can't be the best job in the world. It can't be. And
Sack him.
You
let the guy go.
I don't want to be melodramatic.
It's not a very good security guard, is it? Get rid of him.
He's a rubbish security
He's
guard.
rubbish. Rubbish at his job.
Very briefly, JJ, what are you
took him
going
on.
to say?
I don't want to be melodramatic, but it brings down areas. It brings down areas. If the local Tesco, Sainsbury's or whatever is known for its criminality, and it just brings down the whole streets and areas around it. Who's going to invest in a house in that area? It's really bad for society.
I can't go in Harrods anymore with the amount of theft going on. It makes me feel unsafe and sick.
His house is worth about £3 now.
I have a feeling it's going to be difficult to control you lot tonight. I wonder why.